Okay guys, we're back, and we're now looking at the very last portion of the procedure for gravimetric analysis. So right now my filter paper with barium sulfate is still in a funnel. My crucible has been ignited and has been cooled, so now we're ready to transfer the paper with the precipitate into the crucible and then begin burning of the paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully peel the paper off the sides of the funnel, take my cone, and basically squeeze the paper, push it in, so the entire sample, including the paper, is now in the crucible. These are called crucible tongs. We use these to handle crucible when it's hot, and even if it's not hot, we want to avoid holding it with our hands as much as possible, so residue from our fingers will not get transferred onto the crucible and affect its mass. So now I'm ready to begin heating. I'm going to pick up the crucible with tongs, and I'm going to set the crucible in a wire triangle. Move it a little bit so it's in the center. Now the lid. The lid is very important because when you start heating and paper begins burning, it is possible, if crucible initially is not covered, for some of the precipitate we so want to contain in there, for that precipitate to dissipate into the air and be lost. However, one important thing I would like to teach you here is that you never ever should heat closed containers. When substance is heated, it usually causes the expansion of its volume, and if a container is closed, it may cause an explosion and the lid to be violently ejected. So what we're going to do is we're going to place the lid. Try to set it at a little angle. I'm going to set the lid on top of my crucible so that it's slightly ajar. Like this, so that it's covering the crucible. My third attempt was successful, as you can see. So the lid is now covering the crucible partially, preventing barium sulfate from being lost, at the same time allowing room for vapors created by burning paper to escape. So I'm going to set the burner underneath. I'm going to begin by again rotating the flame around the outside of the crucible to ensure that it gets heated evenly, like this, and then I can set the burner down. I'm going to turn the flame up a little bit. What I would like to have, as you can see, I've adjusted the burner so the flame is blue. I'm not sure if you can see an inner cone in there. Typically, what I would like to have is the inner cone to be touching the bottom of the crucible, because as you hopefully remember, the top of the inner cone is the hottest part of the flame. Because my paper was so dry, you can see already the paper is catching on fire. You can probably see a little bit of smoke coming off. So I'm going to continue heating until basically the entire sample is revealed and all the paper has been burnt off. At some point I will be removing the lid to allow better access of the flame to the paper. You may also see, I'm not sure how well it's visible in the video, I'd like to point an interesting detail. Part of the flame is colored green. I don't know if it's again visible or not, but the reason why, if you're curious why the flame appears green, this is because of barium ion. Barium ion colors the flame green. So any green coloration of the flame you might notice is due to presence of barium. Right now it may not be as obvious because there's still a lot of paper to be burned. So if you want to come closer, please. I'm going to take off the lid now, so we can take a look and see what's inside. You can see the paper has turned black, and you can see it's burning. So I'm going to lay the lid on the bench. It's hot, but the bench is covered with a heat-resistant material, so that should be okay. And I'm going to allow this to burn some more, and then I will probably do a final video once this entire paper, see the green? I don't know if you can see the green. Hints of green in the flame. So it would be really cool if you got to do it yourselves, but since under the circumstances you cannot, I hope I'm providing you with enough visual information as to imagine what you would have been doing in the lab these couple of weeks. So it's a wrap for now, and then we'll come back and show you what it looks like when paper is completely burnt off.